we didn't.
Apologize for that. Wet or my apologies. Changes to the agenda, or Pat just gave me a couple. We may hear from Samantha Woods, and if we do on the herring run, we could take a couple minutes to hear her, and maybe we can arrange. I know Van Buek is asking us to get up to Appleton Field, so we can talk about that. And
There's 3 certificates of compliance, too.
okay,
242 Central, 76 Pheasant Hill, and 392 Country Way.
okay. We have those down, right?
No.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Well, we have.
We have 2 of them.
So the other one is Pheasant Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Which is follow-up.
yeah.
I'll
All right.
make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Before I forget it, so the last meeting and the one before, we passed around a couple copies of the Conway School Report. Do you still have one?
I have one, and I'd like to talk to you about it sometime if you
Okay,
come
and
out
where's
from
the other one?
underneath.
Kevin Tubbs.
gotta-
Kevin came, brought it
No,
back.
Kevin,
Oh, all right.
Maybe I
Brought it
could,
back the next day, even though he wanted to keep it a little longer.
Oh, then
All right.
you had some.
no.
I only had a, one that I printed, a rough one. So there
I
should
have
be,
the one, I have one of them.
yeah, there should be one in the office, and then Kevin and Tony. Okay.
Carol said Kevin brought it
Pretty
back.
sure Kevin brought it back the very next.
Oh, well, let's take a look afterwards. I would like to grab one, if I could.
Yes, see, I thought you.
I think we
had
should,
it last
I'd like to
meeting.
sit down and
Yeah,
talk
and then you and
about
I can,
it. Yeah,
sure. Same day we go to the field.
yeah.
Okay, I think we can, actually, you guys are gonna be so amazed at how quickly we jump ahead. So, we have Gordon at Ocean Ave.
And I'm gonna make,
On May 29th, 2013, 6:30 PM, the Town Hall Situate Conservation
Do
Commission
we
will
even want
hold.
to open this, if they're going to?
Yeah, we're gonna open it and continue it.
so it doesn't have to be public.
Okay. Sorry.
On wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 4 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Stephen Peterson, Ocean Drive Properties LLC, to repair, did I get this one right?
No.
I got the
No,
wrong one.
Ocean Ave is for,
Yeah.
It's a new
Ocean,
building.
Ocean Ave.
General Laws, Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Daniel F. Gordon,
Yeah.
the Gordon Minot Trust, to construct a new dwelling and septic system on property located at Ocean Ave. This is map 8-7-19, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. And we got a letter from Attorney Orenberger's office requesting that this be continued because the proper folks couldn't be here.
I make a motion to continue.
Just to the next meeting, right?
Yeah, Gordon, Ocean Ave to June 10th,
Says-
at 6:30.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Now Peterson.
Come on, so yeah.
On May 29th, 2013, 6:50 PM, the town, can you do it? Oh, this one says,
They're here.
the agenda says 6:35, so, is that okay? The notice says
I
6:50.
think you got the wrong one, don't you?
Oh,
Oh, I got Clover Lane again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
No problem.
Just dying to run out of water. General Laws, Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Stephen Peterson, Ocean Drive property, LLC, to repair a septic system on property located at 15 Ocean Drive, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. I just want this meeting over.
I wonder why.
All set?
By the way,
All right, thank you, Rick Grady, Grady Consulting. Cards here. This is a septic system upgrade for an existing home at 15 Ocean Drive. It's located in a FEMA flood zone. The front of the house is in zone VE, elevation 14. The backyard where the septic system is proposed is zone AE, elevation 9. Although the grades in the site kind of indicate that we could be perhaps above that, with 11.5 and 12. We're proposing to remove an existing cesspool, install a 1,500-gallon septic tank, distribution box, and 2 ADS biodiffuser chambers in trench configuration, along with a vent on the far end of the system. Soils are all sandy, no groundwater at 12 feet, so it's entirely a gravity system, no pumps, no mounds, no change in grade. Everything can go back to the existing condition upon completion of construction. No vegetation needs to be removed. Glad to answer any questions you may have.
Penny?
I don't have any.
Richard?
Richard?
It's your neck of the woods.
Oh, I know the house, I know where it is, no.
No questions here.
Seems pretty.
Straightforward.
Need a septic system.
Okay. These are the ones that would be really nice to close and give them a set of orders. But
Yes, and we have done that in the past. People have asked, like you know, it's an easy one.
Yeah, we don't have the
Wait.
objection to that. We understand that if the Board of Health made any substantial changes, we'd have to come back, but honestly, I don't see it happening in
Okay.
this
It's
case.
pretty much a standard
Right.
septic orders.
Okay.
We had no waivers or variances requested from Board of Health. It's a fully compliant
Yeah.
design.
So are you all set with the Board of Health?
They haven't approved it yet.
Oh, shit.
They told us today there were no issues with it though, so,
Right.
okay. But, oh, they haven't had a meeting to vote on it?
They haven't issued the formal approval.
So can we close?
Yeah.
Why don't we close it and have everything ready to go next meeting?
Sounds good.
That should be fine.
Yeah. I
Okay.
make a motion to close.
Second?
A second, yeah.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you up next, Ed?
There's no full thing.
We have a very good Wentworth freshman on board this summer.
On May 29, 6:50 PM, the Town Hall Situate Conservation Commission. What were we going to ask Grady Consultant about?
COC up on Border?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to go up there. We have to visit it.
Certificate of Compliance on Border Street?
Yeah. You guys have one up on Border?
Yep, for
Yep.
Bob Falcone, it was
Yep.
an application for Lucione. It was basically drainage work at the intersection of Border and Gannett.
Okay.
That
Hey.
was the only thing that we, because they moved the driveway. So
There was a little bit of
everything was
drainage down by the road and
section.
stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay, that was before my time, but I figured we'd go out and take a visit.
Yeah, we had that problem.
Do you want them to meet you there? Do you want to?
Is it something significant, or could we just go out there and figure it all out?
I think it's something you could probably figure out pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's really the drainage work down at the intersection.
Okay.
And then they accessed the site from Gannett Road. We had to go back and do some plantings where they had disturbed the buffer zone in that area.
Okay.
It's all been planted, the drainage work is done.
Yeah.
House and driveway are all outside of the buffer.
Okay.
So it looks real good, actually.
It's a monster house.
Yeah.
Very, very unique.
Big house.
Yeah. nice
What a view they
Yeah.
must have up
It's a
there.
fantastic property.
Um,
But yeah, if you decide you want me to meet you over there, that's fine, we can do
Yeah,
that.
we can set up
Okay.
a visit, we may
Yep,
not.
that's fine. I just,
Okay.
the back of my mind, I was thinking there was something we had talked about. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
On May 29th, 2013, 6:50 PM, the Town Hall Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts General Law, Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws, regarding the application of Diane Mariani to repair a septic system on property located at 30 Clover Lane, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
Good evening. For the record, Terry McGovern from Morris Engineering. This is another sewage system upgrade, reasonably straightforward. This property is located at the end of Clover Lane off Edith Holmes off Tilden. We're replacing an existing leaching field constructed when the house was originally built in the rear yard. And we're replacing it with a septic tank, pump chamber, and a small leaching field consisting of the ADS biodiffuser chambers. Jennifer Sullivan has reviewed it, similar to the last one. I spoke with her today. She had no comments. She was all set with it. The board hasn't formally approved it yet, but she's all set with it. Our closest point, we do have a wetland that kind of meanders onto the property at the southwest corner. The closest point of our corner of our septic system is going to be some 67 feet, which is greater than the 50-foot Title V minimum. We're also going to be outside of the 50-foot no disturb. Really, we're doing very little grading in the backyard. We're only removing the A and the B layers on top, which is about roughly 22 inches of soil. Installing the chambers approximately a foot higher than the existing grade and covering it. So you'll have about a 1 foot grade elevation in this area. It's wide open. Basically, disturbance can be minimized right in this area here. We have a heavy brush line that comes along the westerly boundary, comes north to south across the property, and large expansive mowed area in here. The work can all be confined to basically this corner just behind the house. All of the plumbing comes out through the rear here. The lower level of the house is a finished basement, finished panel and plumbing, so you have to work everything apart to change the plumbing around. Final grading will be about a foot higher in this corner. But basically, if you're going to do the work and be careful and high proceeded, in a month's time it looks just like it does now, just slightly higher. Very straightforward. So.
That's all lawn there now, Terry?
Yep, all open, expansive lawn. When you look in from the front, there's a mounted system over here to this property immediately adjacent. And you look and you think, well, there's an area here, but this is only 30 feet from the nearest corner of the house to the property line. To maintain 20 feet off the foundation by Title V code and 10 feet off the property line, you have an invisible sewage system line that's about a half a foot wide that you can, by code, fit something in.
Right.
So you can't get to the sides of the house. The house is kind of pushed up into the neck here. So it actually turns out that this is the area that you create the least amount of disturbance, grade change, et cetera, on the site in order to construct the sewage system.
Okay.
The wetland itself is actually an impoundment. It's more of a real full BVW that's just off the wetland, off the wall line here. But just up gradient of the wall, because a lot of material has accumulated. It's a very, very old wall line, some large boulders. And it's just a little bit of an up gradient that causes a little belly in this area and here. And so you have a little area where water impounds in that area, creates kind of a little pocket inside the wall line, where pretty much a lot of the people going up the street mow right out to the wall line. Here they have this really thick brush. And there's no reason for any expansion of any of that at all. If you were to go up on the side here, you'd likely have to take most of this brush buffer out of here, take out all of that vegetation along that side. So we're staying in the area that really create the least amount of disturbance.
What about this area here in the north, on the north side next to the driveway?
You've got a water line that runs right through the middle of this.
Oh, okay, that's what the W
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Well, you
Got
could
some
break
out-
that,
You've got some outcrops of stuff up in here too.
put that directly into the leaching field, that water line.
Yeah, runs right through the middle,
Never mind.
right into the middle part of the house.
There's an attempt at a levity.
I got it.
Thank you.
We actually, down the street at Mary's Boatyard, when we were, the water surface is way up by Little's Lane, and when we excavated for the system on the uphill side of the house, first we found the old copper line, which was just the old nice green copper in the ground, and fought very carefully and found, Greg's dad, Jeff, found some sand. He said, oh, what's this? Got down there and started digging. There was the 1.5 inch poly coming right through the middle of the excavation where the system was going. You never would have found it. We just found it by accident.
Jesus.
Okay. Penny, do you have any?
I can understand why you can't go on the front and the side, but in this, straight over,
This way?
yeah,
A lot of disturbance in here. You've got ledge,
you've got like,
several large trees in this area.
Yeah,
The existing system is pretty much dead center in the back, so you kind of either have to go left or go right. And there's definitely ledge outcrop over this way.
it would just be nice to get it completely out of 100, but.
I agree, I don't disagree, but at the end of the day, you actually have less disturbance by putting it where it is. And you're going to have, instead of having to rip out trees, rip out ledge, create more disturbance, potentially more erosion. It's a fairly straight, flat area. You go in, you take out the top 2 feet of topsoil, lay the chambers, put it back, hydroseed it, and it's done. You really have minimal disturbance.
You're not elevating it, you're not,
You'll end up with the grade about a foot higher. You have just a little belly in here that's about a foot higher. If you go likewise, if you come up along either side, this gets steeper as you come forward.
yeah.
So you're gonna have quite you just see the edge of the contours. This mound to this side starts off almost higher than the clapboards on the side of the house. By the time you get to the back, it's about a six foot mound.
Yeah, yeah.
Richard, any thoughts?
No.
No.
As ex-
Yeah.
explained,
No, and
I'd
it's-
rather have the non-disturbance.
Yeah, it's not in the lawn, it's in the lawn, so you're not digging up the woods. I think it's, I mean, I understand we could look to have them flip it in that back corner.
It's one of
but-
those cases where if you go someplace else, you're gonna dig up a much larger area and potentially cause more disturbance and change the grading.
Yep.
Runoff on the site.
I just want to say, my concern is not so much for disturbance, it's for the actual leaching field being that close to the 50, so it's that close to the wetlands, where if it was feasible to put it outside the 100, then you're that much farther away from the, the leaching.
Yeah.
And let's face
Well,
it, it's going to eventually get down there,
Well,
but you're doing what you can.
again, I don't disagree.
But that's all wooded.
Yeah.
I think kind of the nature of this area back in here, I don't know if you crawled in the way I did to get there,
Yeah.
but back in here, it literally is, and I even actually looked on Oliver, I've been out and walked across the back of this. You have more of a pronounced BVW line, it's about 6 to 8 feet off this wall, maybe 10 at the most. Comes over, there's another house right here, button hooks, goes off in this general direction. And just inside the wall, there's kind of a low point that's created. You can kind of see some fingers of stuff really in the herbaceous layer that comes up. And you just have a little, it literally is like from here to the window and probably not much longer than this room. It's just a little low area that water pounds in, ponds in right in this area. And then it comes up, goes through the wall, and the actual BVW is on the outside. But you've got a good thicket of brush in between.
Okay.
And we're meeting all the other requirements.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make it clear that was my, trying to get it forward.
I don't
We
disagree.
can do it, we can do it.
I don't disagree. If there weren't ledge on this side,
Yeah,
we'd
That would
flip
be a
it
better
and put it
place.
this way.
Yeah, we had a long conversation today about that. That was the same area we were looking at, and that's where the ledge is. And then if you look to the house to the left, you get too close to the property line. That would have been a good spot, but it's 10 feet too close, so.
Okay.
I make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have you heard from the Board of Health?
I talked to Jennifer. She's all set with it. They just haven't voted. Same thing as Rick's, the
Yeah.
last one.
Okay.
Okay. So then, orders of conditions, it's Zukas?
Yeah. motion to accept the orders as written.
Well, I'd second and then make a comment.
Yeah, make your comment.
I just feel that on this particular piece of property, we should make sure that even on the orders, it says that we should have nothing underneath, and I know that you've said no storage underneath,
Yeah.
but I would even go so far as to add a breakaway. I wouldn't, all that is just fodder for the,
Oh, I
for the
see.
area behind.
You're saying
And
don't,
just have it open,
as opposed to having screening?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's stuff just, ends up being a public works project afterwards.
Well, I don't know, you see so many houses that have screening, in the summer people will put their boats and kayaks and all their beach stuff.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, well, I hear you, but, okay, yeah.
and aesthetically, it just seems like it's sort of traditional. I hear you, that if there's a storm, the stuff gets wiped out.
as we still see.
I mean, I think that as our Mother Nature gets more intense, that we're gonna have less houses with anything underneath them at all. Just, and, much more like a traditional beach community. But-
Personally, I think those things should be left up to the owner. If they want to, it's not, this isn't in a V zone, right?
Yeah. It
Is
is,
all
I
of it
think it
street
is
in a
in
V
the
zone?
Yes.
I thought it was a VE zone.
Or an AO?
I don't, I think the file's over there.
I think it's in the,
But that's not a
No,
big
I-
issue as far as I'm concerned. If we wanna close it as is, we certainly can, that's not,
Okay. Well, I think it's something we should encourage, and then people either to do or not do, and then think about it.
We did discuss it at the meeting.
Yes, we did.
And the gentleman did say, no, we're not doing anything, blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
And, we can only, I guess, we can write whatever we want, whether they're gonna adhere to it or not, that's another story. And,
But there's just a piece of this, it's like, at some point, I think that should be just left up to individuals. I mean, we're telling them to stay out of the wetlands, we have the house at the elevation, the foundation meets it. If they want to put some skirting around the house for aesthetic, I'm not sure I want to dictate that.
No problem, as far as I'm concerned. So I guess I've already seconded it.
Okay. All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
Great. RDA, Scituate, DPW, is this something that was on for tonight, and we just have to continue it?
We had continued it, and we were hoping to get information on the deed from the Registry of Deeds as to the ownership.
Because you guys opened this at the meeting, I wasn't
Right.
here. Okay.
Right. And because we didn't have anything clear from the Registry of Deeds, it was better off not to have Jennifer get in and present what they'd like to do until we determine ownership, so,
Okay, so we're gonna continue it again?
yeah.
I'll miss the summer season at the rate we're going.
I make a motion to continue the IDA, the Scituate DPW Recreation Central Ave for the parking and storage pods. And
Second.
There's no time when we're parking
So-
Really?
it. Really?
We just don't continue it to the next meeting?
It is. That's
Yeah,
what
she
it
means
is.
the time of night.
Oh, okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
all right. A second,
I second it.
all in favor?
All right.
Great. Okay. Follow up on Pheasant Hill and Heritage, but you're saying we're ready to do a CFC for Pheasant Hill?
Pheasant Hill, we held.
I didn't
the-
get a chance to weigh in on the back and forth with the signs.
Oh, well, they were able to find the concrete posts, and
Good.
I got them in, and I got the signs put on, and they're ready to get the CSC cleaned up the brush.
Nice. I was gonna send you back, so when I finally read that thing, I was gonna say, why don't they just call a surveyor or Surveyor's Supplies? And They
Yeah,
don't weigh
it was-
300 pounds, they're probably 100 and,
Yeah,
How many pounds?
J. Michaels Landscaping, I
Yeah.
think, were the ones who
oh, good,
found it, so.
okay. I think that's reasonable. That looks nice.
The plantings, you can see the plantings in one of the photos, they all are in good shape. They have all sorts of blueberries and pepper bush and everything.
Good. So,
Everybody was as responsive.
we can get
I
us,
know.
They're closing next week, so.
yeah, it's the only thing that brings you to the table.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
And these will stay put. Good job.
okay,
The other one that we went out to was the One Heritage.
right.
And this was the home that was looking to establish lawn but not go any further than the 50-foot buffer. And it was reflagged by Steve Ivas. And Frank and I went out there and we measured, and we pulled out the restrictive covenant. And the covenant says that, no disturbance inside of 50. And they're not looking to disturb inside of 50. So this was the one, there was a lot of disturbance in the previous owner way back into the woods. So there was some plantings done. There's an old fort or a clubhouse or a tree hut or something that's out there. And the owner said they'd be willing to take junk out of the wetlands and remove part of that clubhouse too, so. And then Frank and I measured off the 50-foot line, and it turns out where the fence is closer to the house than 50 feet. So there would be room to move the,
How much are they gonna move it back?
well, where the first post is, it's right about at 50. If you're looking in the backyard to the left, the first one's right about 50, and then the fence comes this way, but the line, the 50 line, goes more at an angle. So it would be like a pie-shaped piece of land where it starts with very narrow, and it probably gets out to 10 or 15 feet at the end, where it's maybe like
So they're gonna add about 10, 15 feet to their yard from the back.
to the far end.
In a wedge shape.
Yeah.
A wedge.
I mean,
I see.
I just wish I could remember, I wish I could remember all the details of back with the pool and having them remove it and clean it up. But like Pat says, we were out there, everything's grown back.
Yeah.
There's a fence, and then there's an area that's grassed in.
That was, it talks about the replanting plan, and fence and the pool, and then it said by a vote of the commission, you could allow things in the, the outside the 50 feet. That was in like the last paragraph.
So it's already sort of a rough grass, and I just don't see, at one point, they're gonna be where the fence is now, and it's just gonna expand a little bit. And the discussion that we had with the owner was that there was, the former owner had left quite a bit of debris and trash and stuff further out in the woods, and he's agreed to,
Move it up.
yeah. So I really don't see a reason to,
As long as they don't get carried away.
Right. The other thing too is it would have been a pool which is impervious, and now we're getting lawn back for the pool, so that's another good trade-off.
okay? So I'm okay with that.
So what they would need to do is revise the plan and show lawn instead of the pool, and, we could put posts in or the fence, whatever, at the 50.
Or could they reuse their same fence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we were saying out there,
Just move
Frank.
it back, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sounds good to me. I mean, the issues really were with the previous owner and the attitude, I think. They kind of inherited the mess.
That was a lot of disturbance originally, because it's
Well,
not,
that's what I'm
it
saying.
goes out into way out into the woods. I didn't know how far it went out until we went out there. It's a long way out. But that's all grown back, so.
It's a new day and there's new people, and they certainly seem as though they're trying to cooperate to get a little bit more, yeah.
She's in the room.
Oh.
We're here, very cooperative.
Whatever you were cooking the other night for dinner made me go home starving, that's all.
I bring you my homemade sauce.
Put brownies on the stove. We know the tricks.
Hey, look, Pat, we were racing off to that,
That's right. The meeting we all get beat up at.
yeah, sea level rise.
That you
Yeah.
left me at, and you took off.
I heard everything I needed to hear.
Yeah, well, I heard more than I knew.
Okay. All right, good. So we're good on that.
Do we need to take any action?
Not really.
It's a request to review a revised plan, basically, so.
Okay. Um,
392 Country Way, Pat? CSA?
392, I don't know if anybody else has been out there. This was a septic system 3 years ago out by the street, a mounted system. And the homeowner came in today, I guess they're getting ready to sell. And everything is in the right location, but I did notice that their sump pump goes out, the hose goes out to a stream, and so talked to her about taking that out, so that's gonna come out. And the new owner will be told, you know, you can't sump into a stream. You could put some kind of crushed stone, French drain, anything, but you can't, yeah,
That's what amazes me.
yeah.
Just do it.
I know. It looks like the normal thing to do is get it out to where the stream is, but it's not a good thing, so, yeah.
No, it's got to filter itself.
Yeah. So she was very understanding of that, so I think that was fine. Yeah.
And what about 242 Central? Are you ready to give them one?
242, he's out in the hallway. This is, there's several different projects out at 242.
I guess so.
Yeah. Did you go by today?
Yes, I
It's
did.
gone.
well, let's,
Is that pile gone?
They're gone.
is the owner's here?
Yeah.
Do we want to just wrap up, or is there more? What's
Oh, yeah,
this?
there's another one, isn't there?
There's a couple of them, 101 border and,
I don't think he's ready for that.
What 101 border we have to go out on to visit. This
Okay.
was one that was before me, and everybody said it was very controversial. They wanted to have a look. So we got to schedule a visit to that. Maybe we could do 8 border and 101 border
yeah.
the same day. But neither of them are ready for a COC tonight.
277 and 286, which I didn't meet you at, but I
Oh,
did
okay,
go
that,
there.
I can update you on that one.
Yeah.
At first, it looked like he was this is, the 2 lots that are side by side. It was one lot, it was divided right down by the rotary down there. The house that's built is the furthest house in. He's got that for sale, and then he's gonna start building closer to the detention basin on CJC Highway. So what he wanted to show us that he was making progress on the plantings that were required, because it's like the halfway point, he's got one done and ready to go. So we put in 70 wetland plants and a few were non-wetland along the yard, and he's got all the plants in, he's got the lawn seeded and the house is done, so he's ready to sell that. So he's not looking for anything from us other than to say, I've done what's been asked at this point. I'm not looking for a certificate till the whole project's done. So I went out there and looked at it. But it's kind of a funny spot because there were plantings in the wetlands, like wetland plants put in the wetlands, and which
Where would you normally put them?
probably in the buffer and create a new wetland, but, because it already had wetland plants in the wetland.
That's interesting. Can he sell that without a CSC, the one that's ready to go? You know the house we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he
I
can,
ran into the guy at Lumberyard, and I just said he's supposed to get his did his engineers, I'm sorry, the engineer, did they say it was all in compliance?
that, he's not coming for a CSC with us. He has to go to the building department to show that it's been built, but
But we've asked before that their engineer or botanist or environmental person come out, take a look, and then send us a letter saying that it's in compliance.
yeah, we only at this point have looked at the botanist report. So the botanist gave the report, and the plants were where they said they were, and they were the right kind. I don't know if you want to have his engineer give an update on,
Do you think they're in the right place? I mean, that was one of the problems with that site, is that, I remember, so Todd went out, they had flagged the wetlands, I think Paul had looked at it, there was a question whether the line was in the right place in a couple spots, because it was real iffy, you know, it was all really heavily overgrown, and then they cleared some of it, and then it was like, geez, did they get the line just
Right, right.
But we had approved it.
yeah. Yeah, if he was asking for a certificate of compliance, you'd certainly do that. You have to measure out to the buffer and all that stuff, but he's not looking for that. He's
Okay.
You know,
But
just
you,
show-
but you say he's been planting in the wetlands?
he was required to on the plan.
Right.
The
On
plan
plan he
called
was
for it.
required to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, the only time we usually allow that is if there's invasives in a wetland and you're gonna dig them out, then you can put something back in, but,
Yeah.
Oh, is that where my burning bush was?
he brought that up, yes, it was.
Did it get removed?
Did he kill it?
I didn't notice, I wasn't looking for burning bush, so.
I wanted it. He was
I mean, it is a sensitive site. It's the other side of the reservoir, and there's,
Well,
I mean, if the,
it's invasive. I wanted him to dig it out and bring it to me.
Yeah, there's riverfront out there too, I mean, so there's all those kind of measurements that went
Right.
in
I
originally.
don't
But
know
the-
how another house is going there. I just can't envision it.
right. Okay.
So he was just giving us an
It's
update.
moving
Yeah,
forward.
But, I think our next person is here.
242 Central Ave.
Right,
And this is this certificate of compliance. Is this one property?
this is, yeah, there's several different orders of conditions, but on one property, there's one remaining order of conditions, and it's for the stones in front of the foundation. And this was done a while back, and it was approved by the engineer. So we needed to get it recorded, and we needed to get an as-built plan. So that's what Augie's been working on this week.
Okay.
Good evening.
Hi.
I just finished it up recently. Had the engineer come out. You should have as-built plans up in front of you. You also should have letters from the engineer, the design engineer. Do they?
Carol, I think there's one set. I don't think we have copies of
Okay,
that.
I
We just
dropped off 2 sets, but I have,
Yeah,
I
it's
have-
in the main file, I think.
I have
242.
extra copies here. And I did a good job, and I did it, you know, I do it for a living. I've done a lot of work down on the beach area.
We've heard.
Yeah, I do a lot down there. I hope it's good things.
Well, today's photos were quite impressive.
Yeah, I also, Pat asked me while I was out there with one of my crews if I would clean up the riverside, so I cleaned up about 6 lots worth from 230 all the way up to 248. I had 2 of my sons with me yesterday, and I happened to have a 30-yard dumpster on a house I was renovating across the street. So we took all the construction debris, railroad ties, all the stuff that got turned up from the storm, separated it all out. I put it in the dumpster. I picked out all the concrete, all the asphalt, everything else, and then the pile of material that was left there by landers, all the spoils. I sifted through all of that as well, and removed it from the riverside and put it back out front on the ocean side.
Did you do that today?
Yes.
We have photos.
No, I believe you. I drove by there this morning about 7 o'clock, and I wrote a note to Pat, what's going on, and so that's, I didn't go this afternoon.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. We did a really good
believe you,
job.
but I will
We
look.
did a real good job.
A lot of old septic pipes were
Yeah.
removed too.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was-
yeah, there were a lot, I mean, we had deep distribution boxes out there.
I know.
We had concrete covers from septic tanks out there. We even had metal covers out there. I had landscape timbers, the big railroad tie ones, you know, we had to pull them out, you know, and they were pretty big, but they were still in there. You know how when they scoop up that dirt in the street, they just scoop it up and dump it,
I do.
you know? And,
So you've done all this work, so what are you looking for tonight?
well, we need my certificate of compliance. I'm closing on this thing Friday. And
in the stone.
just for the rock wall, because I have another order on the other side for a dock, but I don't have the money to put it in, so, and that's a separate lot. But I'm not gonna be doing anything, I'm keeping that lot. But my customers are here, these
But,
2
well,
people here are gonna be
really,
buying it.
I wanna know, Pat, are you happy with what he's done? Is he ready for it?
Yeah, there were 2 things required on the original order conditions for this wall, was to have the stones put in to support the front of the wall and have an engineered plan, and then there were plantings required. So the plantings were in and they got wiped out in the storm recently, so we talked about maybe planting, but not in the same location, because they were in the shade up against the seawall. So we're talking maybe the plantings could go across the street where it is closer to the marsh and less apt to get direct hit
Oh, okay.
from the thing. But everything else on this particular order was just related to fixing the wall and putting the stones. It goes
I'd have-
back away.
I'd have no problem putting some plants on my side. Actually, there's an area right now where there's a bunch of nice rose bushes up by the front of the street. I mean, we could expand off of that. Or I could put them wherever you want, really.
Yeah, it's almost a separate issue. You're not gonna store anything in that area, are you?
Not as of right now, but
Good.
why was,
The answer is no.
was something said?
No.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Well, there were photos in the past with other stuff out there.
I mean, yeah, I
It's
mean,
not-
I've lived there and worked out of there for years, you know?
Just down the street.
I mean, I have, like, if I bring home my trailer at night, I park the trailer there or something like that. I do have quite a bit of uplands there. You know, we've had it delineated when we did the dock, but as of right now, it's all cleaned out. The only thing that's out there now is a boat trailer, another trailer and a boat.
Camper.
Yeah, my new camper, my boathouse.
Well, we're working our way down Central and we're cleaning
Yeah.
up that side of the street.
Yeah, I mean, we took a big hunk out of that whole riverside. We really cleaned it up good. We spent a lot of time down there. As it worked out, we were in between jobs. And I just finished up a job down there, a renovation job, where the guy had some water damage, and I was lucky to have a dumpster down there. So we took advantage of all that.
Okay.
So Pat, you're good with this?
Yeah, I think it's, in the engineered plans say that, and there's a letter too from the engineers.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Sounds
So
good. That will issue.
we'll issue a CFC for that.
Okay, and
Yes, ma'am.
there's more work on the other side of the street, but that's for another day. You know, we'll deal with that later.
Hi, I'm one half of the buyers.
Yeah.
Um,
Just your name and,
My name is Lisa Case, my husband Michael. We have 4 days and we're gonna lose our rate to buy the house.
okay.
So can I pick up the copy of this tonight, tomorrow, so I can run it over to the closing attorney?
The certificate of compliance.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning?
give a call before you come, just make sure
Okay,
I'll copy it.
5 AM, 6 AM? No. I'll tell you, there's been nothing more stressful, like, oh my gosh. But just for, you know, I'm very into the environment. I'm an organic farmer. We're from southern New Hampshire. And I've already talked with Pat several times about learning everything, how it's supposed to be done. And if I can, be happy to offer. I came from Maine. I've grown a lot of wild rose bushes. So I'll be happy to try to commit to those two.
Yeah, sign you up.
She wants to apply to be on the board as well. She would love to be a member.
Good.
Conservation.
Well-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Where Humrock could use a representation, so,
yeah.
I'd love to.
yeah, great. Beach grass, and, okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good luck with your home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah, thanks again
See
for
you
your
all.
help. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
Okay, see ya.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, nice meeting you.
Well, that's right, you haven't met.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben.
What else do we have on our agenda?
What's the enforcement on?
So enforcement, Ian Vinyl Road?
Oh, man.
I know.
Okay, this one, it has to be visited after 6 o'clock at night. No response back, nobody home during the day, not gonna do anything for us. And I guess you guys have met her before. So, this one may end up going to Toomey's law firm. I think she's just gonna say, it's my property, I can do what I want. So I'm gonna give one more try at night, if anybody wants to come along.
Well, I went out there with Jim before, and we had a discussion with this woman, and she guaranteed us that she was gonna, so why don't you and I figure out a time?
Okay, so it's worse than it was. I guess it's, the neighbor said it's twice as
Yeah,
bad.
I rode by, I mean, I didn't see anything at it, but I didn't walk back there either, so let's,
All right,
All right.
set up a time.
We're gonna open a can of worms on that road.
Yeah, right. The Country
Worse than
Way,
Humrock.
the yeah.
Digging yourself in so deep.
You guys you're on television, Frank, you know, a lot of,
Go ahead.
on 18 Country Way, this was the one next to the park with the pipe.
Yeah,
And I talked to him, I haven't been by there since then, but he said he was gonna cut the pipe and run it into rocks or something. He was very willing to do it. He had no idea that you couldn't run it out of the cellar into the stream, but he's
Where is
gonna.
this?
This is next to the
The
park.
mill.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Did he
knew
tell you
the
I
guy.
spoke to him?
Yes, and then you explained it to him, and then we talked to him again, and he said, oh yeah, I'll do it, whatever you want me to do, I'll do, so.
Okay.
You know, if you're in the area, ride by, just check it out, and if not, I'll, you know, remind
Yeah,
him.
he seemed, he's like, what am I gonna do with this? I think there used to be a drain that was
Yeah.
under the house, but that's clogged.
Yeah,
And all the work from
Yeah.
the town had done and work on Country Way had diverted water.
and it's so visible, it's right there at the park.
There's a ton of iron in it. You go under
Yeah.
that, I mean, he took me right underneath the house, and
Yeah.
there's so much iron that it has that real orangey red color,
Yeah,
but it's just groundwater.
yeah, right. Now, it looks worse than it is, yeah. So, all right, so that one's more accommodating. EJ Foster, I don't know if you want to go the same night to that one. This is, you've been out there in the past, way out at the end.
Oh, yeah,
So, yeah, and you've been involved. I don't know if you want to.
sure.
Okay, maybe the same night, we'll just.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I mean, people assume it's their property, they can do what they want, but there's wetland laws that,
Yeah, there's a whole bunch, there is
So-
some frags and stuff out there, but we conditioned this a long time ago, and they know what the deal is.
yeah.
Okay.
Chief Justice Cushion, the one that's just beyond PJ's there. I was out there,
Were you able to speak to the owner?
yeah, I spoke, he came in the office when he got the letter.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I had a lot of trees down after the storm. I said, well, there's a lot of stuff down, there's chippings and all that. So I made an appointment to go out, and I met with him today out there. And, you know, there were a couple of uprooted trees, there were some trees that had, you know, broken and were choked by the vines that he cut.
Right.
But there's stuff left in place, there's wood chips, there's, you know, kind of a lack of vegetation between his lawn and the marsh. So I said, well, you know, you're gonna have to do something here. We're gonna pay a visit, and we'll come up with some ideas. I know there's one area I'd like to see stuff pulled out. Some of the big trunks and the vines were kind of left in place, and the wood chips have to get raked out because nothing can grow through them. And he said, well, whatever you want me to do. So he's willing to listen to.
Should we just look
suggestions.
for him to clean that up and do a little bit of planting there of some?
Yeah, if anybody wants to either take a look or just give me a suggestion.
I mean, I've ridden by
Yeah.
from the street
Yeah.
and taken a look, and I mean, I think that's happened a lot. People had trees down everywhere. We had
Yeah.
that guy on Clap Road that
Right. He's
called.
very visible, though. He's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, you know, it didn't look to me like, I mean, I don't know, obviously they had a chainsaw and a chipper, but it
Yeah.
didn't look like they had any heavy equipment in there,
yeah, they didn't, yeah,
because otherwise they would have spread some stuff out, so.
yeah. The guy takes pretty good care of the property, so.
Yeah.
So I'd be glad to give him, you know,
Maybe-
an area he can clean out, the wood chips and the debris, and then plant a few, blueberries or pepper?
Yeah, you know, that might be one though, Pat, that they do put up some either fence or some signage, you know, try to determine where the buffer zone
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
And just put some delineation there.
Let it grow.
And then
Yeah.
just either let it grow, or, you know, if he wants to do some habitat enhancement with some, you know, pepper bush, blueberry, whatever we think is the right thing there, and get him to plant a dozen bushes in there of something that would be, you know, if he's getting rid of bittersweet and some invasives, you know, we don't want to discourage
Yeah,
that.
right, yeah.
I don't think. Am I on the same page?
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right,
I think if we,
I'll write 'em-
I think the best way with some of these is to be, I think we'll get more cooperation if we
Yeah.
explain how it works.
yeah, he seemed willing to work with us, so I'll write a draft letter, and you guys can tell me what you want.
Okay.
Before I send it.
What's that
Eisenhower,
address?
what's that?
What's that address on?
If you,
155, if you go by PJ's
PJ's,
Restaurant coming from
Oh,
here.
yeah.
and then there's a long stretch of marsh, it's the
Right.
first house going south
giant lawn in the front.
Almost into Hummerock.
Yeah, right.
And then it,
Almost into Marshfield, come on.
Uh,
It's almost in the
Before
river.
Kennedy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then
So-
there was one on.
That's called Bell Neck, Tony.
Is
Is
it?
that what it's called?
Bell Neck, because it used to, it was before 3A was there, you'd come around by Corner Stetson Road. That's how you'd get there.
Yeah.
I
didn't
got
know
that
it was
history
called
today,
Belknap.
too.
Thank you.
There you go.
Eisenhower, there was a report of equipment near the wetland, and I spoke with the owner. He was getting large rocks out of the yard, and if he's in the bad area, he doesn't know it, and so we're gonna meet out there. He works until like 5:30 every night, so I'm gonna meet him at 6:30 next Tuesday. I don't think there was work beyond his lawn. I think it was within his lawn to get rocks out, but didn't walk the property, so.
Just out of, that's my, I've already heard about this. It's my sister-in-law's brother, so someone else might want to go on that.
Oh, yeah,
one,
you
but-
can't go on that one, yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, he seemed very willing to work
Yeah, I
with
think
us.
he didn't have a clue
Yeah.
that he was that close, so I think if you can, but somebody else should do that.
That's Tuesday at, I think it's 6:30.
There you go, Penny.
Maryland, that's the most recent one.
I didn't hear about that.
This was today.
Which one's this?
Maryland Road, it's off of Old Oak and Bucket, right
Jesus, I hope it's
near
not this
Maple.
guy's sister.
Really? She lived at the,
Two of his sisters live on that road.
could be then. It's a road you probably haven't
Yeah,
seen.
a
It's a
roll.
little, small road with
Off of Old Oak and
small,
Bucket.
small ranch houses.
Yep.
Backs up to a cranberry bog and a marsh. Anonymous call came in and, so on a Friday afternoon, so I took a ride by and there was nobody home and there was a lot of
Is this it on the
clearing.
left, there's like a fishing equipment and there's a,
Fishing equipment guy on the left, it's the next house, which is closer to the marsh.
yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff cut. They're trying to establish a lawn, so it's
Right.
stuff cut.
Did you leave a note or anything, or?
No, I met with them this morning. I ended up talking to her on the weekend and I.
Who's the owner?
Kerry is the first, Bierce, Bearce.
Okay.
So I spoke with her, and I went out there this morning, and, part of the work they did was upland, and the other part is buffer, and then part of it's probably wetland. So I said, you're gonna have to come before the commission, I'm gonna write a letter to you, there's definitely gonna be some replantings, and, you could probably get some lawn out of it, but not as far as you wanted to.
Yeah.
And the first question was, who ratted me out? It's like, just follow the rules.
Right, right.
So.
Okay.
So anyways, I'll do a draft letter. This letter's gonna be a little stronger than, we took down a couple of trees. There was a big giant snapping turtle laying eggs in the middle of everything that was cleared.
Wow.
So,
That's all that, it's all like that wetlands and that connects to the bogs on Old Oak and Bucket, and then also the ones that are off of, used to be called Burns Pit in Norwell. That's a big wetlands that's in there. A really big area.
yeah.
And she's upset because now she's got a race in the middle of an open
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, I told her the first thing we'd have to start was getting a wetland person out there to delineate it, because right now you can't tell where the wetland plants were.
Really?
You can only do soils, yeah. So I told her I could line up a wetland person, but I'm definitely gonna get money in advance, because I'm not gonna send him out there and then,
Nope.
yep, so.
Okay.
Anyways, that one was a little more complicated. The Air property up on
Right.
Gardner, we received a letter, I emailed everybody. It's pretty much, we're gonna file a notice of intent and.
Yeah, that's great.
We're gonna put a house. So anyways, this is a good one.
Yeah.
But
But there's still gonna be,
I talked to DEP about it today. They say you cannot refuse taking in the notice of intent. You can deny an order of condition. You can do a denial order of conditions.
Right.
If what we ask for on the enforcement order doesn't get done. So the first thing is we want a real wetland line, and we're gonna also have you pay for our person to check a wetland line. So he can come in whatever wetland line he wants, but then he's gonna pay for us to have it reviewed by
right.
an independent person. And his argument is that it's been caused by the waters directed there by the town, but
The town set up this series of gabion baskets that flows out of, I don't know if anybody else has taken a look, but it flows under Gardner Road, and the town, I assume, set up these like tiers of gabion baskets, but they've all silted in. And so the water sort of gets spread out as opposed to being in a channel. And I think it was working pretty well, and then they disturbed a big area on his piece of property. And it got a little confusing because there was a neighbor, and a budding neighbor in Cohasset who had a DEP sign up. So when you went by there was a DEP sign.
You didn't know.
But it wasn't for that piece of property. So, but they did clear a lot, and then we had a couple of storms, and then more trees got uprooted.
Did you see the big tree?
Yeah,
That's right in the
Yeah.
swale?
yeah.
I mean, the swale obviously can't.
You know, and
work.
then I don't know if anybody remembers, but the neighbor was in because she was upset that that had diverted some of the
Yeah.
water. And
Yeah.
But I kind of, the way I'm looking at that, he can say what he wants, that it's created more of a wetland. But from the marsh, there is a 50-foot buffer,
Right.
and he totally wiped that out.
Right, so,
And that was solid.
Right, our issues are distance from the marsh, cutting in the marsh, and then fill. I mean, you can't put fill.
Oh, that's right.
So those are our issues. He's got other issues he has to deal with, Public Works, and Al's happy to deal with him on that, but it's gonna come in as a notice of intent from Morse Engineering, and then we, open a hearing, but before that, we're gonna say what we want on the enforcement again, so.
What is it? This is what was on the computer? Okay.
Yeah.
I've read it.
yeah. That's from Humphreys.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So, and then, the other one that is, there was a letter from Mr. Clark down on Central.
Yes.
Okay, so that one is, we need to determine a time frame as to how fast we want things to happen on this.
So this is material that's not supposed to be stored there?
Yeah, this was, it looked like an untouched dune area with tree growth and everything. So he bought it, bought 2 lots down there, and I guess his plans are probably to store some things there, but it's in a resource area. Usually, things like that, if it's already disturbed, there's a house on it, maybe there's a way to do it, but if it's undisturbed, you have to come in and file a notice of intent. And
So
see
did he
whether-
clear it?
No,
No, he
no
hasn't
clearing. There's channel markers or buoys in there, and then there's a boat and a trailer.
Okay.
Storing stuff on it.
Yeah, and it's, it's like the first step, and everybody rides by there and they're, oh, if that's allowed here, we can all, and it's,
Well, you heard Bloomstein this evening. I mean, he was saying, I'm gonna do it.
he should have said no, there's nothing there, but he
Right.
didn't, yeah. So anyway, I met with him in the office the other night, and he said, I'll file, but I'm real busy right now, and I'm like, everybody's busy. How much do we want to say, here's your deadline? You gotta either take it out or file by a certain date.
So was there nothing there before, and this is a new activity? The storing of stuff there is,
Yeah, I don't think there's been anything there, Richard, has there?
I didn't notice anything before he took it.
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, the tricky thing is you go buy a piece of property, it's your property, you
Right.
assume you can do something, so, that,
Well, that's, I mean, is this our issue? There's no structure or anything on it. There's buoys and,
yeah. But it's storage, it's considered alteration if you're walking in and out and you're putting stuff down and taking it out and bringing the wheels of your trailer. I mean, it involves a filing anyway, so,
because it's in the resource area.
yeah, so. And who knows what the legal answer to the whole thing is, it's just that we have to act on what we know for the bylaw and the wetland protection. So if he removes it, we go away. If he files, we have a hearing, but he can't do nothing.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and there's a lot of interest from abutters on this. A lot of
You
people
got
have
a lot
called.
of emails.
Calls, emails, photos, there's a lot of people that are,
They're not happy.
yeah, well, they want to say, you have
But I guess
bylaws.
my question was, I want to be sure that it's our jurisdiction and not the zoning board or the planning board, or is it a combination of those?
I mean, I think it's ours. We'd be probably the lead ones on this. I think if we denied him use of it and he called it was as a taking of his property, then it gets into legal counsel, probably gets into zoning at that point. But the first step is my property. I'm gonna put it there. I know there's resource areas. Are you gonna let me do it?
But you think that storing material on that property there goes against the,
You would have to file, like if you did anything on a new area that's a dune or a barrier beach, like most of what we're dealing with, there's already houses in place and they're putting in a septic. This is like a
Right.
new, untouched, so it's, I mean, he may come along and say, you know, for 30 years boats were there and, you know, then it becomes a different issue. Is there, you know, any right to do it? But I think until we get a filing, we really don't know what to do.
okay,
And I think he's willing to file. He's prefer not to move it off there, but,
okay.
and I'd like to try to push him along it with a, okay, by such and such a date, can you?
Okay.
And now's when all the people are looking at it, so I mean, I'd recommend sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
I think it should be sooner.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
All right.
So.
Yesterday.
Okay, yesterday you should have had it in, you're late.
Okay.
But, you know, sometime mid-June,
Russell will push it as long as he can.
we don't wanna,
Okay. No, that's fine.
okay, because we have
It's
people that
been
have
going on for a
legitimate-
couple weeks now anyway, so I'm
A month anyway, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
just gotta do something.
yeah, okay.
All right.
Again, I'll send a draft to you before it goes out, and you guys can comment.
Okay. What else?
We want to get some dates for Vinnie's visit
Oh,
if,
yeah. So what he'd like to do is just, I guess, show members what he's done, so everybody,
For Vinnie?
yeah. Who hasn't been up there?
I have not.
All right,
and I
I'll
have,
go.
I've been, but I haven't seen what his plans are.
all right.
I mean, if you guys have already been and he only needs to meet with a couple of us.
Yeah, well, why don't you and Richard go, and let me know when you're going, and if I can run in.
All right, we'll
I
do
will
that.
All
Unless
right?
you guys have a particular time that you think might be good and you want to all go.
I'm fine. I was there up there with the Conway group a couple of
Yeah.
times when we were walking the property, and he was there, and we talked about stuff, so.
I saw the pig pens and but then he was talking about
Oh,
doing
did,
some other work.
Cindy Robbins
something
or
else
Wayne
planned.
Robbins, they were looking for Vinnie's phone number. Somebody had an interest in one of those pig tractors.
Oh, not even our phone. I haven't been in my.
Okay.
All right. Amory engineers have been selected to do the 214 Clap Road review. I think, who were they using? I forget who the applicant's engineer is. I think it's McKenzie Engineering. So Pat Brennan, I think, is going to be doing the reviewing for the town.
Is he doing it for both?
I'm hoping to do it
Because that's
that
one
way.
that I have to recluse myself
Yeah.
on. So it's just, I mean, I'll just look at it from my own personal standpoint, because
Yeah.
I'm,
You can attend all planning board meetings.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and I think it makes more sense, because planning board has to go through the stormwater standards anyway.
Well, this is between the rest of you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just in general for a subdivision, they have to go through stormwater too. We have a few things that we focus on because it's stormwater, but it also could impact a resource area. So, for instance, pipes under the street, those kind of things we have to be very involved in and make sure that Pat Brennan did that Foam Road one, and he was very thorough on that one, I thought, so.
I think the problem with having an engineer work for two aspects of the town is that they tend to look at one side and not the other. And don't take into account all the aspects, if you're talking about stormwater, that would be ours as well as zoning.
If there's a,
And you just have to be, I think you have to be more on it.
I
Yeah,
shouldn't be
we-
discussing this, so
Yeah.
No, well,
if,
yeah, and you have to.
is there anything else?
Yeah,
Is
there
there
is.
anything to be signed or anything?
There's-
Why don't you guys take that up at the end?
All right.
Yeah, we
All
can.
right.
Yeah.
Jim Toomey on the CRs. We were told, the one bit of information that came in is that some other attorney, a woman, may have either gotten them.
The CRs are now being done by a different attorney.
But is it someone from their firm?
No.
Oh, okay, so that was
So
information
all
we
we're,
didn't
all we're
have.
trying to find out is where these actually are, who's got them. If
Well-
they've all been turned, I think it's Kathleen O'Connell or something like that.
Lisa sent an email yesterday.
Right. So we just want to make sure that the Toomey's office doesn't have any more of the CRs.
Oh, not that
And-
I thought he was holding them and we were trying to get them back from him.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's just a matter of making sure they got passed on, and we need CRs for the Lynn Litchfield
Yeah.
pieces of property. And somebody emailed me, I just haven't had a chance to look at it. You sent me some.
I did.
So whether we can use basically that CR. The Lynn Litchfield ones aren't gonna be as accessible as, like some of the Bates Lane properties.
Yep,
They primarily were acquired to protect, it's a red maple swamp that flows into the reservoir.
right.
Lynn Litchfield is between Country Way and Stockbridge Road. It's the red maple swamp that runs along the railroad bed,
Oh, okay, okay,
okay?
yep.
And
Oh, that, okay.
And there's a brook, Tan Brook comes sort of out of the reservoir and runs up and
Right.
back of, along the
Right.
railroad bed.
Right.
And so we just need to, but what they've decided, which I think is a good idea, is we're not going to acquire these properties until the CRs are done, because we still have undone conservation restrictions on several pieces of property. So it just makes sense that we get these all squared away. And they've been written, it's not brain surgery. I think this, and this new gal that's doing these for the community preservation, just wants them, and she'll develop a CR that we can,
All work with.
yep.
So does
And
she
in
need
or-
anything from Jim Toomey, or does she have what she needs?
If we've got these drafts, I don't think we do. I don't think we need anything anymore.
Well, if we have drafts from her, but we're not comparing them with anything that's already been done?
What we want to. I think
Yeah.
there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. We just,
Exactly.
we want to use basically what we had for some of the Bates Lane pieces or whatever. And we're going to have CRs for Crosby, and we're going to have it for Higgins McAllister.
Right.
Those will probably have more pieces because it's in a different part of town and used a little differently. So we just have to go through the,
Yep, I guess what I'm getting at, she's got some ideas as what she wants to put in, right? And what we want to do is compare them with what's already been done.
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Where is what's already been done?
Carol's we got a couple, right?
I sent you a couple.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So then, okay, I will be here on Monday or Tuesday, and I will be in your office on Monday or Tuesday to look at those and make, and.
That'd be great.
Yeah, on Monday or Tuesday.
And
I
then,
won't be here, but I'll print them out for you.
You won't be here all week? Okay. That'd be fine. If you could put them out so Pat knows where they are, along with the emails from Christine, or whatever her name is,
from Lisa?
whatever
Yeah,
the woman's name is. And
okay.
then I can get in touch with her. That's fine.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Tony, call first on Monday or Tuesday, because Carol's not in and I have several site visits, so if you're coming by, make sure we're here.
What time are your site visits?
Tuesday morning at 9, Peggotty, and later in the day, but things may come up between now and then, but Monday looks pretty clear, but call, I could always
I
leave the
will.
door open too.
I will call you on Monday.
Okay.
That'd be
You
great.
still can't open what I send you?
Excuse me?
You still can't open what I send you computer-wise?
We can try again.
Because I send them to Frank, and Frank can open them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that'd be half of it.
But if you print them a set, if you can do that.
I could, but I
Okay.
don't get things around here.
We can, unfortunately, I'm leaving tomorrow morning, so I'm not, and I won't be back until Monday.
Oh,
So do with it as you will,
okay.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, there's a few more. Deer Commons, they're getting ready to have a pre-construction meeting. They're gonna start building out there. And I've asked that they flag the parts of the wetlands, not the whole thing again, so that we can measure off that, because they never filed with DEP on their original filing for the subdivision, which is very rare. They only filed under the bylaw with the town. So, I have my doubts if that's legal, so I'm gonna measure out, and if they need to file with DEP, they need to file, and they should have
Right.
thought of that a long time ago.
Huh.
And so I'm going out there tomorrow. Richard said he wanted to go along, and they've staked out the 50 line where they're gonna be doing the hay bales too. The other thing, all through that order, they talk about structures won't be any closer than 50. Structures won't, but my understanding is there's a 50-foot undisturbed
Could be
buffer.
lawns and septic and,
Everything is 50 feet away.
right.
It's not as clear as it should be. So I've reminded them that we have a 50-foot. So as they design their thing, they better be expecting might
But
change.
you're saying they're starting construction?
Well, it's a pre-construction meeting, so.
But do we have a definitive plan as to what
Yeah,
they're building?
Yeah, I think there's a whole approved order, but it's only under the bylaw. It's not under,
Huh.
so.
It's been so long, I
I think
just
it's
don't
like
remember.
12 houses maybe, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But this started, I mean, it was like one of the early things when I got on the commission.
Yeah, this is.
So it's like it's 6 or 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, so I'm going out there.
Well, Steve was out there doing the, perk test 5 years ago, because I was out there. when
Yeah, he's
the
one that
bulldog
tries to
was
avoid
out
DEP.
running around.
Right.
On all of his, you
So
know,
that would have probably been 5 years ago.
but anyways, and then, so that's tomorrow morning if anybody wants to go out, whatever time is good, we can figure out a time. Al heard from somebody about some money for a possible doggy park that would be 90% reimbursed, and they're looking for a possible place to put it. So he was talking to Penny and I about Driftway Park, is
The open field.
where the field is there.
A
And it-
dog park?
Yeah, where
Fence it in
people,
for dogs.
yeah, fence it in, where people
Dogs can
walk,
play together.
where people walk the dogs out there anyway. This may be able to direct them into an area where it's a suitable place for dogs rather than have them everywhere. But they were told that it's available to the town, and if the town has an area they could identify, they should.
I'd be reluctant to say that spot, and the only reason, I mean, I haven't seen anybody clean up. It's awful. The Driftway Park is disgusting
Oh, is it?
from people not, and I shouldn't categorize all of them, because I'm sure a lot of people do pick up, but a lot of them don't, and it's really bad. And you go by there plenty of times and see people, Frisbee playing games and stuff along that park, and I think if you fence that off and say, well, it's open to dogs to run, then, I
We
don't
had
know.
this conversation many years ago when Vinnie was still the agent,
Right.
and
And I'm not against, I mean, I think there probably needs to be a place, but I'm not sure that's the spot. I don't know.
And I don't know if North Scituate is big enough by the WPA building, my park. That's my dog park.
Tony, what happened the first time around? Was that the same area they were talking, or were they?
well,
talking-
at that stage in the game, we were talking about putting some sort of an amphitheater out there and a dog park, and we were gonna.
Oh, it was big
pave
plans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the
Mickey
whole
and Minnie
thing
was
died.
big.
Can I, Frank, what about if they went into the sand pits with the dog park, farther in?
Sand pits.
So you're almost behind the sewer treatment plant. You keep going around
Yeah.
where it's,
Well, there is that area, actually, at the base of where they're grinding all the chips and stuff, and the DPW used to use that for a little nursery, but they're not anymore, and it's all grassy. Is that what you're thinking?
no, not necessarily there. I'm thinking you go not the grass area that you can see off the driftway, but you go along the path, go past the piers, and you keep going, and keep going towards the water treatment plant, of the sewage treatment plant. And you know, it's almost like sand dunes up there.
Right.
It's very sparse, and then you can come around the bend and see out on the marsh.
But if,
I mean,
You don't
that's
want
a-
it close to the marsh, that's part of the problem.
Well, I'm not saying that, the bend around, I'm saying
If you could do
there is
it,
an area.
do it up near the road, there's that
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
that's what I'm
sandy,
thinking of,
yeah.
is that grassy
Yeah,
piece.
but how do you keep it clean, even somewhat clean?
Well, I think you just try, you're gonna have to put some signage and hopefully encourage people to do
Well,
that.
if you're taking your dog in there, I'm sure as heck not gonna take a dog in if I have to step in dog poop. And I'm not letting my dog in there, so it's, I mean, I can't imagine
Yeah.
you taking your dog in and not having.
I mean, there may be places that it can be done, you know,
Well, I'm just thinking that that's a place that's a little more isolated
Yeah,
than the spot. Not that people won't have their dogs in that open area, but technically they should be on a leash. But
yes.
if an individual is looking for a place that they can fence in, that people can go and release their dogs and let them run, and people want to do that, I'm just thinking it wants to be maybe a little bit further away from folks that would have kids and different things like
and if
that.
this is some sort of a group, they're gonna pay for the fencing.
Right.
And maybe the pickup
Yeah.
containers
There's a
and whatever.
place, Pat, maybe we can talk to Al about it, that, and see if the DPW has any strong feeling. It was, they had a small nursery years ago, but they haven't grown anything in years.
Okay.
And it's,
That's all grass.
yeah, it's sort of at the base of where the wood chips are ground up. If you were going on the driftway, leaving.
Right, yeah.
If you left the wastewater treatment plant heading back towards Greenbush,
Mm-hmm.
it's just beyond that. You can see it. It's a grassed area. And the driftway trail sort of winds through there. It dips down into the woods a little bit there. And I think, you know, it's a pretty good sized area. It would be as big as, out
Is it that big?
close.
Good size.
Yeah, it sounded like the town dog officer would be maybe in charge of this. I think it's gonna actually, they're hoping it to be a town kind of project, not a private group running
Right.
something. But I think the dog officer was,
Well, I think that spot would be, personally, if it's gonna be on something that the Conservation Commission has, it's a little bit isolated from the other piece, and people could walk, they could park at the Driftway piece, they could park at the golf course, they could walk down the Driftway trail,
all right.
all right?
I think that's what he's looking for, is just some input from
That's
us
the
on what,
thing that comes to my mind
Yeah.
of the different pieces that we have that are already cleared,
Could be worked out, yeah. It's not a
Okay.
bad idea.
you know?
That sounds good.
The selectmen have jurisdiction over part of Ellis that we don't have.
Oh,
They
yeah.
can clear a piece of that.
272 Central. This was a request from Merrill Engineering. They have, they're putting in a septic system. 272 is where the whole area got washed out, and this guy lost his cesspool. And the guy wants to live in the house as they're starting to build the septic system, which is gonna be starting in less than a month. So he wanted to know if he could do a tight tank, and I said, well, you know, tight tank stuff, that's all Board of Health, you gotta go talk to them. So, and I told him, we just went through that with Peggotty, with, you know, the guy wanted to put a tight tank and dig it up every year and put it back. And he said, no, this would only be for a month, and he wants to live in the house, have a tight tank. So I said, go talk to Jennifer. Jennifer was gonna talk to DEP to see if it even would fly with them. So Jennifer talked to DEP, and I said to Merrill, I would run it by you guys, and, you know, it's one of those, who knows, you know? It would be a time-limited thing, it wouldn't be
Right.
something, you know? But I said, you have an agreement in hand with this guy to build the septic. Oh, yeah, we'll get the leaching plan design and all that other
I think
stuff.
we'd, like you said, we'd definitely put a time limit. I don't want to keep somebody out of their house. That's how I look at it. And if it can be done without a major disturbance, if it's going to be where they're going to be doing the septic tank and stuff anyways. I mean, certainly there's a few people in a bind where their leaching area has been
Right.
washed away.
Yeah.
So he just wants to do this for a month?
Well, they're putting in the full system.
Well, they're putting in the full system,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, so, but DEP may say no on a Barry Beach. Jennifer she said, well, we haven't had any of these that we've really reviewed, so she was gonna call DEP today, so. But I'll give her that input, that if, it helps the guy stay in his house and it's not interfering with any state rules, and it's time limited, and.
Yep.
All right, and we're almost done. Kimberly Lane. I don't know if any of you guys were around for that. It was 10 years ago. Subdivision, and they left the best lot for last, and it requires a crossing, limited project, which shouldn't be allowed because they had a subdivision. They could build 5 houses without a crossing. That's your subdivision. You don't use a crossing to get to a 6th lot because you want.
Right.
So anyways, they got approved. So they have an order of conditions in place for that. So they've extended it, they've done what they needed to do, now they're ready to build. He sold it to an abutter who's gonna build the house. The issue with this is, the wetlands may have changed. He wants to amend the order of conditions. So I talked to DEP, and DEP said, you're perfectly within your right to ask for the line to be checked again, because it may change where he can put his house. You're not getting into a whole new NOI where you could deny the order of conditions because you've already approved it and extended it. So they're recommending an amended order of conditions, notifying abutters, putting it in the paper, and then having the wetland line redone. So that may be coming
Okay.
before us. And it's, Morse Engineering is representing the client, so.
Okay.
But I was surprised to see that this was allowed, a limited project for one, we already have 5 lots. Usually you
It's all
get,
before any of us.
yeah, you get your 5 lots, that's, you don't push and cross a wetland to get to a 6th, But anyway. And performance bonds, there was a couple of emails sent around where the accountant is trying to find out who's.
We don't, that's nothing to do with that.
They said it's conservation, did
No.
the performance?
Laura said it was conservation.
Is it
Thought
not?
it could be, no.
Oh, okay, so they're
I
not,
already went,
oh, okay, all right. Never mind. And then the last one is they're putting poles on Peggotty Beach under the storm emergency. So there's a new road that's kind of dug in. This is, Coastal Engineering is working for National Grid. And this is the latest. So if you're coming in from, this is
This is
Inner Harbor
Townway,
here. This
Townway
is-
Extension, Inner Harbor.
And this is gonna be Townway Extension,
So it's basically the same old road.
except for the
behind
road used to
houses.
be, yeah, the road used to be
The road
here.
went-
Right.
But we
Well, that
allowed,
was a long
but the
time
road,
ago.
Yeah.
It hasn't
the
been
original
there
road
yet.
was out here.
Yeah,
And then we allowed them to build,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the poles got wiped out in the last storm.
the poles were
And
still
they-
out here
they were
though.
in
Yeah, they
front.
were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're gone, so now
Yeah.
they're moving the poles here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, so we had to sign off and say, yep, we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a sign up. But, Russ Topman did a pretty good job getting this stuff out of here. He got all this out of here.
What'd
And
you
now
do
he's
with
put it back on the beach.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
And under the houses, yeah, it's much different looking. Over here is still, I mean, this whole area is a
You
mess. The
still have
road
the
is,
file there?
not like they used to be.
Yeah.
No, the pile's gone.
Yeah.
Um,
Until the next storm.
Right, the only way they would allow anything to be done near the marsh is because it was blocking the flow and the salt would have been stagnant,
Right.
so
Right.
anyways.
Okay.
So,
It's after Memorial Day and they still don't have power.
they got water, I think.
Yeah,
They
I heard
ran
that
the
they put an,
water.
they just put a water service on
Hose.
top of the road.
Yeah, a hose, I think,
A
yeah.
line, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Lucky they have houses.
I guess,
Anyway,
yeah. Okay.
did it?
I make a motion to adjourn.
No, you guys have to discuss
we have to-
214.
Yeah, 214, we have got to talk about that.
Is there anything I need to sign?
yeah.
Frankie's going home.
Carol,
Well, 214 hasn't come before us yet, so what do you?
Carol, the woman who's coming in tomorrow morning for the CSC,
Do you want to meet
is,
sometime next week?
they have to sign that tonight? or
Yeah, I
they
could do
already-
those,
Is that the
um,
one?
They have
The
to-
CRs pieces?
Well, I
or-
don't mean that. I'd get started on that.
Okay.
Oh, that's Augie
But
stuff.
then-
I opened his file up.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll
Did you
get a
everything back
copy.
from them?
Yeah, can we get-
No,
that was one
still
of the
up
things
there.
I wanted to ask. I'd like to have a copy that I could scratch up. I don't want to work on the one we've got.
Let me ask, there's a guy
They
that
still
I
have
want to
3
talk
of
to
the
tonight.
things.
Let me see if I can get him to print a few more,
Okay,
all right?
yeah, yeah.
The
Just
Augie
pages
stuff, yeah.
without all
Yeah.
the beauty and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So he was in our office every day this week.
Oh.
But- Get the pile then, because he needed to sell the house.
Yeah. And he did such a
What time
good
tomorrow?
job.
What's good for you?
Later in the morning, 10:30 or 11? 11's good.
Okay, 11's good. I have bug spray. It's gonna be,
Bugs hate me.
ticks like you.
No, they hate me.
Ticks don't even go to
You're
you?
lucky.
I have some, it's not a problem. They really do hate me, but I'll put some on.
Be careful.
Put me down for Monday at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
And
What's the actual address on that?
For Deer Commons? There's nothing visible. You're coming down the hill, and it's an opening on, coming from your end, it's an opening on your right. You can see the lights ahead of you at this intersection.
I think it's right after the new house that they built. You know, the big house that's built coming down the
Right
hill?
there.
What hill?
Oh,
Coming-
I'm sorry, 3A.
Right before these lights here,
Yeah,
if you're coming down 3A,
yeah,
on your right,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see the lights ahead of you, and there's a little driveway on your right.
Is it-
I'll get there first.
that's fine. Is it this side of the church?
Yes.
Yes,
So it's beyond the Lutheran church?
yes.
Okay.
It's the last road in.
Okay. Now I know where I'm going, that's fine.
which one are we talking about?
So would you say 11?
Here, Common.
That would be better for me.
Oh,
That's good for you.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay.
that's, anyway, let's finish up to 214. And I was just making the comment that philosophically, I'm against having a consultant work for two entities,
2 departments.
two different departments, yeah.
That's like having a lawyer represent both a plaintiff and a...
Somebody else.
Well, they're both representing the town. The reason that I've found it, we've done it both ways. I've done it both ways. And the worst case was you have dueling engineers that aren't even the applicant's engineer. And this guy wants this guy wants that. And they're fighting with each other, and they're not even dealing with the applicant. So the applicant's paying for 3 engineers, and 2 of them are fighting with each other. At least if the town has one that represents us, it's much easier for me and Laura to sit down with him or her, and
But
say,
the problem, as I see it, Pat, is that we and Laura have two different axes to
Huge.
grind.
and that's okay, because
Well, it's okay if the consultant, if somebody is on top of the consultant all the time.
And we
the
should be.
problem is, that's not gonna happen.
Well, that's what should happen, because.
It should happen, I don't
Right,
disagree with
Right,
it.
right. But,
But it's not going to, and you know it.
well, no, this is, I don't know, this is where I've spent a lot of time in my other jobs on this kind of thing. This
If
is-
you have the
it's-
extra time to do that.
It's
and
not, it's
along
not
with-
extra, but it's,
Well,
it is extra, actually. But the issue is, now is the time we can make a difference on a project. It's not once it's built or gone wrong. So if we can, yeah.
I have nothing against it in theory, it's all in practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much overlap too, that,
There is overlap,
Yeah.
but we have had situations where the Wetland Protection Act has
She's
been
looking at something.
disregarded relative to a lot of things because it's not the primary focus of the
right, right. But I've found that happens more when planning's doing their own thing, and they're telling their engineer what to look for. Whereas if I'm telling them something constantly too.
I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
on the commission when this comes up. I just think
Yeah.
I know, Sammy.
it is very, very difficult to administer.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that has made life a lot easier in a lot of places is when